Hello everyone and welcome. In this video I shall be sharing my thoughts on the latest episode of Fear the Walking Dead. Apologies for it being late, but it was my birthday yesterday and I was too busy celebrating.
Yay.
What an absolute party animal. I should warn you, I am about as enthusiastic about this new installment as I was in that clip. So if you enjoyed this entry, you're probably not going to agree with what I'm about to say. Anyway, there will be full spoilers for the entire episode throughout this review, so please don't watch any further if that will be an issue. So without further ado, let's begin. It's happened, Fear has turned into The Walking Dead. Gone are the interesting and likeable characters, instead they've been replaced by people who constantly seem to be doing incredibly dumb things. In fact, my main gripe from this latest entry was having to witness the protagonist spending way too much time and effort attempting to help people who they should have just left the hell alone. It really amazed me with how naive they came off as being throughout. I mean, have they learnt nothing from the crazy arseholes they've had to deal with in the past? So in order to prove a point, I'm just going to list some of the idiotic decisions characters made during this episode alone that I picked up on. Number 1. The traitor Charlie comes to the baseball stadium and asks for help. Instead of telling her to get lost immediately, Madison decides to listen to what she has to say. Why even give this girl the time of day? I know she's a kid, but she poisoned your crops and she can't be trusted. Just close the doors and don't ever let her near the place again. Number 2, Madison accepts Charlie's request to go help the guy who spent the last 5 episodes trying to intimidate Madison and her people. The very same man who nearly drove them all to the brink of starvation. What a great idea! I certainly can't see any reason not to help a guy who tried to force you out of your own home. Number 3, Mel tells Madison that his brother Ennis is coming to attack the stadium. Charlie, however, says that Ennis wouldn't do something like that, with that being enough to convince Madison that Charlie is the truth angel sent from Honestyland, whose mission is to give her all the facts that her heart desires. Sure, why not? Number 4. After Madison boots Mel out, which for the record I didn't think was a bad thing to do, Nick then pipes up and says that Madison shouldn't have made him leave. Wait, hang on a second here. Nick, 10 minutes ago you were saying that Madison shouldn't have taken him in the first place. Make up your bloody mind, man. Number 5, Alicia and Nick decide to leave the stadium to go out and rescue Mel, a guy who has tried to screw them over since he first encountered them. Why? Why is everyone so nice and so insistent on trying to save everyone? Let him go, he's not your problem, he doesn't deserve your help. Honestly, it's like Morgan has infected the entire cast with his All Life is Precious disease. Number 6, Ennis's men pull up with trucks full of walkers outside the stadium, which causes Madison just to stand there patiently and wait for them to open the doors because, well, I guess she was trying to be polite. Look, I don't really know why she didn't shoot them. Yeah, I know there was fuel on the floor, but I don't think a spark from a bullet 200 meters away is going to end up anywhere near the petrol anyway. You know what, that will do for now on the example front, but the point I want to make is that nearly every 5 minutes I found myself thinking, why is character X doing this, or why does character Y think that's a good idea? And that's not because I set out with the intention of trying to be picky, it's just that hardly any of the characters' actions this episode made any sense to me at all. And when I find myself thinking like that, I really find it hard to care about what is happening on the screen in front of me. I'm sure that people will try and counter these examples by saying they were necessary to advance the plot. I.e., if Madison hadn't have taken Mel in, she wouldn't have discovered that Ennis was planning to attack her headquarters. Okay, fair enough, but I do still have 2 bones to pick with this argument. Firstly, I feel like the plot point I just mentioned, along with a lot of other plot points found in this episode, were not at all necessary. I mean, why couldn't Ennis have just turned up outside the stadium unexpected and unannounced? If anything, it would have actually been more surprising and interesting if the vultures had arrived on the scene without forewarning from another character. Secondly, characters shouldn't have to be doing constantly dumb things in order to advance the plot. This is a classic sign of bad writing. If you can't make progress through the story without portraying your characters like idiots, then well, you really need to take a long hard look at yourself and question whether you should be working as a writer at all. Anyway, I want to take a break from moaning just for a moment and focus on some of the good things found in this episode. Such as, well, you know, there was that moment when the thing happened, you know, the thing. That was cool, I like that. It showed great attitude and spirit. Yes, that's it. Okay, I did like some parts of this episode. Well, mostly just the beginning, but still that's something. In said beginning, John Dory found himself on the ground fighting for his life as all hell broke loose around him. Admittedly, the gun battle that took place was one of those typical Walking Dead battles where no one can seem to shoot anything, but hey, it was a decent set piece to kick things off with. Also, I have to admit that although the Alicia grenade launcher moment was pretty much a carbon copy of when Daryl blew up the Saviours who were on the motorbikes, i.e. you saw the van explode in a similar manner as the Saviours did without really knowing why, with the camera then focusing on Alicia exactly as it did Daryl, it was still pretty badass. And well, that's about all I really liked from this episode. What? I did say I was only going to stop moaning for a moment. You know, you really should start paying more attention to what I'm saying. I think the majority of reviewers and fans who enjoyed this episode found themselves getting excited during the final 10 or so minutes, which featured a mass of walkers bearing down on the stadium. I've actually seen people describe this ending on Twitter as incredible and crazy. Well, I tell you, I think it's crazy people are getting excited about something we've seen countless times before. I've witnessed walkers descend on various group strongholds so many times during both Fear and The Walking Dead, and seeing this happen again doesn't exactly fill me with excitement. I mean, it was only last season on Fear we saw a herd of walkers descend upon the ranch, and now here we are with the same concept once again, albeit just in a different location. It certainly doesn't help that we already know the fate of the stadium anyway, with the show just helping to fill in some of the missing gaps so it's not like the outcome is unknown, and because of this there was no tension to be found. Finally, if Madison does end up sacrificing herself for Nick and Alicia, who shouldn't have been outside the stadium in the first place, then I'm going to be pissed. If she dies this way, then for me her death will be on par with The Walking Dead's Beth in terms of stupidity. As you can probably guess, I can't say at this point I'm looking forward to the mid-season finale. It seems that all that is going to await me is another disjointed installment in which I witness characters drive around in the present, whilst remembering their stupid decisions in the past. The show just feels dumb, which is a shame because last season it didn't. The writing is poor, the characters' decisions are ridiculous, and the story is all over the place. Normally my reviews last around sort of 10 to 15 minutes at most, but I think this may be the shortest review I've ever written, just because there wasn't a whole lot for me to say about this episode. After binging through the first 3 seasons of Fear a couple of months ago, I was really looking forward to this season. Now though, I'm just looking forward to it having a break so I don't have to talk about it anymore. So there you go, there's my review on the latest episode of Fear the Walking Dead. Please let me know your thoughts below. Do you agree with me, or did you actually quite like this episode? As always, thank you very much for watching, and until next time, goodbye.